Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Well podcast. I am so excited for today's episode. We have Jackie Wilf here, who is the head of business development and partnerships at Arya. Arya is a sexual wellness brand that has taken the industry by storm in the last 18 months. I honestly was really caught and drawn in by your ads, your branding, and it really compelled me to learn more. So I'm excited to dive into this conversation. Arya has definitely been raising, I would say, eyebrows and also VC funding. So the business world is really paying attention to you guys right now. But Jackie has really been the mastermind behind the incredible growth and partnerships that are putting this brand on the map. Part of what we're here to discuss on the Well pod today is really the business behind the different aspects of this ever-evolving world of wellness. And sex has been one of the hot topics we've been excited to explore. So welcome to the pod, Jackie. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so looking forward to the conversation, and I'm a huge fan of everything that you do. So it's great to get together and chat.
Yeah, I know. It's not always a natural connection to have studio management software while talking to a sexual wellness brand, but Jackie and I found lots of ways that we can connect and hopefully work together. Let's dive into a little bit of your background. Let's talk about how you found Arya in the first place. What really compelled you to join as an early employee? And I can't wait to hear what from your background helped you feel like you could take this on, because honestly, let's be real, sex is a taboo topic, and marketing for this and kind of growing a brand with this might be pretty intimidating to some.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've personally been in the broader wellness space for well over a decade now. I used to head up partnerships at Wanderlust, and truly my personal passion is really empowering women. Currently study as a part of my master's in psychology program at Columbia, which I'm just doing for fun on top of, momming and working.
Why not
do grad school?
How are you doing that all right now? Well, congrats.
I just coffee, literally. Yeah. I know it's a wellness podcast, but honestly, coffee. I should say matcha, but I'm going to be honest, there's coffee.
Zero judgment here about coffee.
Yeah, coffee, it's important for me personally, but also just passion. Like my passion in life is empowering women, all people, but really women. And that's been true since I was in high school and started a young women's group with my school psychologist, to my work with AmeriCorps, to what I study now at school in my grad program, which is really how to utilize positive psychology, the neuroscience behind spirituality, and really apply that to women's mental health. And I get to study with some really amazing people, including Dr. Lisa Miller, Dr. Dan Tomasulu, and also Dr. Orly Athan. And so Arya is, that's something I'm just kind of doing on the side for fun. So you can imagine that with a company like Arya and just wellness in general, really finding vehicles to empower women in their daily life. Esther Perel says that something along the lines of the quality of your relationships really reflect or determine the quality of our lives.
Yeah.
And I find that, Arya, although sexual wellness is involved, is truly a couples wellness platform and a relationship wellness platform. And with that, it's like people want to invest in that aspect of their lives. And so we're really able to impact all people and really, from my perspective, a lot of women in their day-to-day lives and in their relationships. So that's the motivation behind it. And the intimidation, I'm not really intimidated. I feel really comfortable and excited, going through the wellness space and also working in sexual wellness. The shift to couples wellness almost felt even easier in a lot of ways. And just knowing that we can really impact people's lives and help them find more joy in their day-to-day and empowerment in their day-to-day is motivating.
That's so great. Well, I have to tell our listeners how I actually found you. I must be the absolute ideal client for Arya, because I am served all of your ads, and
right.
and they're so spot on and so compelling. So if those of you listening have not, had the pleasure of seeing these ads, I'm sure you will soon, since you're listening to this podcast now. But it really struck me, and I immediately went and looked up who was doing marketing. And at the time, I think you were involved in marketing or maybe working with ads. I don't know if it was exactly your brainchild, but I reached out to Jackie on LinkedIn and I was like, hey, I don't think enough of us like pat each other on the back for the work we're doing. I love your ads. I think you guys are spot on. And I was just super, super impressed. So that's how we got to know each other. And it's kind of fun that we've connected this way.
Right. I'm so happy that you saw our ads. I'm such like a teamwork makes the dream work person. I am not personally responsible for the ads in any way, shape, or form. We have like an amazing team that really creates like the content and knows how to serve the ads in a positive way. I'm a lot more on like the brand building, the partnership side, and really find like that initial, also why I loved joining from like such the conception of the brand and the product is because it's like the first few bricks. Yeah. How are we going to build brand validity? How are we going to get our first 100, 500, 1,000, 10,000, customers? And that's really exciting because you're really starting from scratch. Although the ads are so not like specifically in my wheelhouse, and I want to, give credit where it's due. But the brand building and really, working with amazing brand partners and also with really amazing experts in the field to bring more attention to couples wellness and really put Arya at the forefront of that conversation. And, a quick example is like last year we launched our like state of intimacy report and we had data from 6,000 people or couples. Wow. And this year we had data from 100,000. And so it's like the growth has just been tremendous. And a lot of that is because the community around Arya, the experts that are weighing in and adding their voice to the conversation has just been incredible.
That's so great to hear. Well, congrats on that growth. I know from a business perspective, I am sure it feels good to just see the, needle moving up into the right.
It's helpful.
Yes. Okay. So when we kick off and really dive into the topic of sexual wellness, couples, relationship wellness, we hear a lot that this is part of the general wellness scope now. But in what you're seeing, are people really viewing sex as an aspect of their overall wellness? Like, is it something they're comfortable discussing? When you go to parties with your partner, with your friends, and people ask what you do, what do you say? And is that really something people are like, oh yeah, let's talk about sexual wellness?
It is something that everyone's gets extremely excited about and immediately wants to talk about and maybe shares not too much about, but they're immediately it's almost like I'm not a therapist. Everything comes out, it's like Pandora's box has been open and it's like my husband's like this or like my partner likes this or my girlfriend, and it's like that's amazing. And I love those conversations. I'm so here for it. But I think that everyone on our team has kind of had that experience where it's like once we kind of share what we do, people are actually really interested and excited because I don't think that people talk about it enough in those settings. Maybe when you're out to brunch with your friends or chatting with your best friend, but I think that there's a hunger for it. And so there's a lot of stigma in a lot of ways. And also on the other side of that, it's so much hunger for the conversation. And in terms of, I think there's a really huge shift in the cultural mindset and in consumer spending too, where we're just starting to spend more on our wellness overall. I feel like the concept of wellness is just growing and expanding and encompassing more of our lives. And so if you think about how much people are investing in dating and dating apps and how much we're trying to crack the code around that, that's amazing. But then once you're in that relationship, where's the support? And so Arya is trying to really fill that gap. And so there's a need for it. And again, I would say it's not just about sex. It's really about relationship wellness. And so our relationships are with us once, and if you're in a committed relationship or even consensual non-monogamy, you're in that day in and day out. And so the quality of that impacts the quality of your life. So it definitely does become a wellness conversation in that way.
Yeah. That's so funny. You've just, as soon as you say what you do, you're the safe space that people can just be like, oh my God, I've always wanted to try this. You're like, good for you. That's awesome. Go for it.
I'm like, that's so great. Sign up. Because what's cool about Arya is that there's an AI powered concierge who is a real person on the other end, but we're really gathering amazing data to then serve couples exactly what they're looking for. And it's not just hey, I want to try sensory play or wax play or communicate better. It's also, we're asking questions that your end as the consumer, it's fun when you're answering the quiz and onboarding, but we're also learning how safe do you feel with your partner? How close do you feel with your partner? So you might want to build a skill or try bondage, but then maybe you're not answering that you feel super safe. So on our end, the concierge is really curating like the best experience that we can possibly serve, and then gaining feedback throughout the process. I'm like, you know what? Like, you should really just sign up, because that way you'll get you'll get to try what you want to try, and also try it in a really fun and safe and entertainment based way.
Yes. Oh, I love that. That's so great. Well, I mean, obviously, we're all in this AI world right now and kind of leveraging that in different aspects. And I can imagine, in this case, there's so much data you're taking in about your consumers, and the business is learning so much through AI. I mean, how awesome that now we can take this volume of data and do something meaningful with it and keep learning. So that's exciting. I think what's interesting here, and just timing wise for Arya, is amazing, is loneliness is really, it's been called an epidemic. I mean, it's one of the reasons I was particularly interested in Arya is because of the relationships approach you take. And because it's a service for couples and really developing better relationships around sex, obviously, but communication too. And I think what I've heard and what we see in a lot of data is that people even in relationships are feeling lonely and isolated. So this is a way to, I don't know, give them tools to come back to connection. So can you talk to us about, from like the business perspective, why it was important to go about targeting couples and not just the individual?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do think that there is still some targeting of the individual, in the sense that one partner signs up and then they bring their partner on board.
Right. Like, I got the ad. Kevin doesn't get the ad. My husband.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So there you go. And that is strategic in some ways, right? Like on the business side, it's like limited resources, and how are you going to allocate that? And also really dig in and understand, like, who is your target consumer? I will say that I'm guilty in the sense that I was like, it's for everyone. Like, come on, let's just get everyone on board. It can help so many people. But then you really start losing sense of who you can serve best, and who are your early adopters, who can you really serve best in the beginning, and how can you expand from there. And I will say that a majority of what we call our partner A, the partners that is signing up, they are women, cisgender women, and a lot of them are millennial moms, which I can totally resonate with. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And obviously I'm working full time in grad school. So there's so much that's already on the plate. And I think that the reason, my hunch, is that Arya is resonating with millennial moms and women in general is the concept of mental load. And what the concierge and kind of the service and the membership provides is like the zero guesswork, minimal, if to no mental load way to really bring you closer to your partner. So one example is like, everyone wants to talk about it at a party. How comfortable are we really with talking about what our desires with our partners? And also, how much time are we taking to know our desires and to know ourselves? And that's where I think that like empowerment aspect is really important, because you're taking time to understand what you want, and then you're able to communicate it in a way that's not adding more to your plate. It's like, oh, great, now I have to also like take on the mental load of like or not repairing intimacy, but just like boosting and enhancing intimacy in my relationship. No, thank you. That's like a turn off for me. Like, I don't want to now do that. I would much rather sign up for a service that's going to do it for me. And, if the concierge recommends something to my partner and I, even though it's based on what I said that I like, and there's like any awkwardness or that kind of funny moment around it, or rejection, even like my partner doesn't want to do it, I don't feel like I'm being rejected. Right. Really, the concierge is kind of taking on that role.
Oh, interesting.
So I think that's like really why we're not just targeting, couples as a whole, but really why I feel like Arya speaks to that demographic. I will say that in that recent report that we did, that if you want to check it out, it's arya.fyi/trends. Is the most recent trends report. And what we found is that, sexual satisfaction strongly correlates with relationship closeness, which isn't really like, it's kind of obvious, right? But, it's obvious, but 90% of respondents that are unsatisfied in their sex lives feel less connected to their partner. And so it's not like sex is the end all be all, but really if we're focusing in on relationship health and closeness, it's not just about achieving like ultimate pleasure. It's really about being more connected with your partner, having moments of intimacy. And it might just be about talking about things that you haven't felt comfortable talking about, and having almost this like mediator doing it for you and making it fun. And that's the last part on this, is that it's not like sex ed, it's all wrapped in entertainment. So it's kind of just easy to do for a fun date night, or, something that a fun habit that you're building with your partner, but that's served to you without all of the, oh my God, I have to plan this,
Right. No, that so resonates. I'm a millennial mom as well, so I fall into that category. And I think the concept of overwhelm is something we talk about in fitness a lot, in wellness a lot. And there's so much information coming at us now about what we should be doing. And we know it's like we have the answers to the test, right? Like we know what's going to make us happy and healthy. But there's so many things that we're responsible for all the time. And then when you start down one path, oftentimes it'll be, contradicted by another expert somewhere else that's like, oh, no, you shouldn't be doing that. Actually, you should be, lifting more now, stop with the cardio, add more protein, don't remove carbs, like all of the things that are constantly being told to us. And having sex be something, just another like box in the ticker in your head that is something you have to keep alive and be inspired about and take action on all the time. I imagine this is such a helpful tool to really just take the planning off your plate. I love it.
Yeah. And also take a little bit of that. Like Cindy Sharkey talks about this. She has a great podcast, Permission for Pleasure, and recently released a book, and we work with her a bit. And it's really, there's also just a lot of, societal kind of shame and taboo and stigma around it. And so there's also that layer. It's an additional layer that a lot of people are working through. So sometimes it's easier to just ignore it. And then that's where you start feeling less connected with your partner. And I would almost say, I don't have the data to back it up, it wasn't part of our survey, but less connected to yourself. And that's where it's like bringing it back to the individual. A relationship is comprised of two or more individuals, right? And so in that regard, it's not, we have to also hone in on the individual. So every single person that is a part of Arya or a member of Arya finds out their unique erotic persona. And it's often really different than the partner that you're signing up with. And so then it's actually about bridging the gap between the erotic personas.
Interesting.
And so it still is really like very, very personal. And then you're bringing that into the dynamic of a relationship. It's nuanced, it's layered.
Yeah. Love that. I don't know if I've shared this with you, but we call them motivation languages, or essentially personality types, in Walla as well in my software. So we're all about personalizing the experience and really making sure that we're speaking to the individual. And so I totally get that idea of understanding how to communicate across personality types or across, in this erotic personas in this experience. Business-wise, you guys are a membership model, right? So there's a monthly or annual or whatever payment? Yeah.
Yeah, we're a membership model, and depending on the time of signing up, there's like different kind of tiers that you can sign up for, annual, monthly, etc. Yeah. I think there's a 6-month membership right now as well.
And I imagine, like, this is just my guess, but you can tell me if I'm wrong, that the stickiness is probably better when you've got couples involved, than just an individual buying into it.
Yes, I think, it's definitely more impactful when you have both partners on board. It's interesting because what we found is that typically, although partner A, the partner that signs up initially in a heteronormative relationship tends to be the woman, actually men tend to engage a lot more with the content once they're actually in and onboarded. And, everyone kind of engages with the content in different ways. What's cool about Arya is that you have a ton of content that you can go through online. Every single month you're served a scene. It's based on a different theme, and you basically go through this experience. Your concierge is there serving you different, just maybe like different recommendations, different questions, dynamic decision making, like a ton of content kind of leading up to it. And then you receive all the items that you need to kind of bring that scene to life. And so that's where it's like zero guesswork, because it's all built up for you, and then kind of like almost foreplay in a way, in the sense that it's like you receive this, your partner receives that, who wants to be in control. And so it's like a build up to the moment that you actually get to bring that scene to life with your partner and try that new skill out.
Now, so your business development partnerships, where have you found what other companies in the industry excite you, or are you excited to partner with? Who are you looking to when it comes to sexual wellness and just generally the landscape of new players out there?
There are so many companies in the space that honestly inspire me, and I feel like everyone's approaching it from a different angle. I would say personally, just because again, like I am very motivated by empowering women through different life moments, and I feel like sexual wellness and relationship wellness is really a vehicle to do that. I personally am really inspired by a lot of the companies out there that are focusing on peri and menopause. I just think that's like, it's just so important. And then there's so many companies out there that are focusing on perinatal health and postpartum, which is just really important as well. I would say that there's almost like so much happening in the space that, which of course I'm blanking. I'm like, which companies do I love?
Yeah.
But there's a lot happening. And, I think there are companies like Kindra, which are focusing more on products that are focused around menopause. What's interesting about them is just their model. They really have a provider-based model, and they're kind of bringing that into more practitioners' offices, which I think is really exciting. On our end, we work with a lot of experts, which is really great.
Yeah.
There are also a lot of companies out there like, I know Afterglow, I have to give a shout out to because I worked very closely with them for years, and that's a bit more, way more in the kind of sexual wellness realm, but really focusing on creating erotic content from the, by women for everyone, but trying to kind of flip the trope on traditional erotic content and knowing that porn is where, unfortunately, a lot of people get their sex education. So trying to actually provide content that will empower people and hopefully show them different dimensions of pleasure, because that's really an issue these days. So I think there's a lot of companies that are right. There's a lot of companies out there that are really approaching sexual wellness and relationship wellness from all different angles and really servicing people in all of these key life moments.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, we're seeing just from a funding perspective, a lot of money being poured into this niche. And I've been following Arya and a couple other brands, and it's exciting to see the growth and just how well received it's been, because obviously going into something that's like, okay, we don't necessarily want to be categorized as like a porn site, right? We're not that, but we're actually empowering couples with wellness practices that are going to build their relationships and have fun. Like that's so much of this is just fun, right?
Absolutely. And I also think there's other companies like Quinn that are really focused on audio and just, servicing people in different ways. And they're able to partner with a lot of celebrities in the sense that they're bringing that conversation more to the forefront and more to the mainstream. And I think that is what is really interesting to me. It's like, how do we take it out of what's endemic to the space and really bridge across to the mainstream? Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. And I do think that funding is actually still really tough in the sexual wellness space, which is quite, common in any kind of taboo type industry, which is also why I think Arya is able to really focus in on like relationship and couples wellness and expand it beyond just sexual wellness. And that's really critical, both on the business side and also I think in our ability to reach more folks in the mainstream and kind of take that conversation that might feel a little awkward between partners in a relationship and make it more of like, oh, I want to talk to you about that at a dinner party. We need to like, really break the taboo and stigma around it. And people are more willing to invest in their relationship in that sense and almost think like, I'm not just investing in myself, but I'm investing in something that's good for me and my partner or me and my family in the long run.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of our listeners are owners of some sort of a movement-based wellness business. When we think about the ideal consumer, the person who's spending, are prioritizing spend in wellness, it often is the millennial mom or the woman between the age of, somewhere around 35 to 55. And I mean, just for those of you listening out there, there's incredible opportunity to offer things like this, to look to Arya for, I'm sure, partnership opportunities, but also just to bring the conversation up. Because in one of my other podcasts, I was interviewing an owner of one of the businesses we work with, Motivate Movement. And Megan was saying, where else in life do people spend as many consistent hours a week as they do in their fitness studio or in their gym and with the same people, right? Like even church, it's usually an hour a week, but oftentimes these communities, these fitness communities become like a little family because you're spending 3, 4, 5 hours a week with the same individuals, and you all have a lot of the same challenges, a lot of the same, life moments. Like you said, the different moments in a woman's life are so important, and being able to have resources or opportunities to safely talk about things that perhaps have been taboo before is really special in these spaces. So I encourage you guys out there listening to just consider this as something that could be, I don't know, who knows, a new revenue stream, a new offering.
And community, like I think what you're really touching on there is the power of community. I mean, I feel like people's fitness and wellness communities are so important to their lives. And it might be something where you're going and you're getting a good workout in, or, et cetera, but it really grows. I mean, you're releasing like so many amazing endorphins and different kind of chemicals. So you're already in this amazing shared space. And it's really heightened, but you're really, you're sharing that consistency. You're seeing each other. I know that for me, like my yoga community is so important, and also just my spiritual community through the program at Columbia. Actually, I'm in the Spirituality Mind Body Institute, which is a very specific kind of track. And so that community is so important to me because people, you really start to understand each other in a deeper way. But community is really the key, I think, to unlocking so much of this for everyone in terms of having the conversations. And when you're comfortable with the people around you, and you've maybe done that like awkward pose, or you tried really hard and you failed, and you tried, and then you like finally hit that thing that you've been going for, whatever, it might be whatever fitness modality you're working with. It's like these people are cheering you on. So you're already feeling really comfortable, and it just has like it's a potent environment to then make a breakthrough in other areas of your life. I think it's just, where do we find community? It truly is right now, like where we're seeking wellness.
So do you guys have, or are there plans, or is this something that you've considered, having kind of a community of Arya users and giving them an opportunity to connect with each other?
Yeah, we actually have, it's really just an Arya kind of Facebook group right now, but the quality of the conversation is amazing. Like what people share about their relationship publicly, the struggles, the wins, exciting things that they're trying. And also a lot of, shares around, hey, I'm postpartum. Intimacy has been really difficult. Or where, I'm in perimenopause. We were really having this like amazing time as empty nesters. And now everything's changed. My libido is different, XYZ. And people are really sharing. And then what's even more exciting is that folks are actually responding and sharing their experiences back, or like, oh, that happened to me too, or like, here's what I've tried. And so it's kind of small but mighty in that way. It's a few thousand folks, and there is that power there. There's no like large scale plans for community. I just, felt like that was really, really important to provide that space. And again, you start with the individual, you go into the couple, and then you're really creating community to like, truly, the mission is to break the taboo or any stigma around relationship wellness. So it's like just a natural progression in that way, but no like large scale plans for a community. Just something that we find is important is to have that space, at least right now, as a group where people can speak to each other.
Yeah, I love that. It's amazing when you put people together inside a container that's safe. What happens? The conversation that evolves, and just the connection.
There's also one other exciting thing we do. I realize that's like community-esque in a way. We have, at least every quarter, we do online events where an expert is guiding you through some type of experience. It might be sensory play. It might be like scripting your fantasies. We've done temperature play. We've done like very light kind of impact play, like pleasure mapping. We've done mutual masturbation, like all these things that people are actually doing. It's online, cameras off, but you're there and you know that other couples are engaging with it, with you, and the expert is guiding you through it. And the chat is like always on, and the kind of like engagement in the chat is so strong. We've done like live erotica readings where you can read a story that you've written or one of the Arya stories. So I think that actually is like a really important aspect of community, of bringing people together in that safe space, cameras off, but still like knowing that like, hey, I'm not alone. Like there are other couples that want to try this. And Arya couples, most Arya couples are really like 101. They're kind of new. They're just exploring intimacy together in this way for the first time. So it's like ends up being, I think, very revelatory for a lot of folks who are just kind of starting on their path to better intimacy.
Yeah, it's great. Just knowing you're not alone is huge. Well, I'm so thrilled we got to have you here today and just learn more about this. I love to wrap up our conversations with just a kind of fun, more personal get to know you as an individual question. What books are you recommending to your friends and your colleagues these days? I'm guessing you might have some really amazing ones because you're in a grad school program at Columbia right now. So I'd love to hear.
So I actually, one book that I've over the past, like I'd say decade or so, have gone back to over and over again that definitely falls more in the wellness world is, I believe it's called Empowering Shakti by Sally Kempton. The reason I think it's so interesting is because it actually does a lot of like tantra and deity work, where you kind of go through all the aspects of the different kind of faces of Shakti. And it's, I think, really powerful because you can do a lot of kind of expanding wellness in that way. I love the autobiography of the yogi, which obviously is like a classic. Can you tell I've been practicing yoga since I was 18? I'm like, it's all yoga stuff.
Totally. Fun fact for our listeners, because the other reason I reached out to her online as soon as I saw that you were, biz dev, marketing, all of that at Arya, I also dug deeper into your LinkedIn and you had worked at Wanderlust. And I'm, as most of the listeners may know about me, a total yogi. I've been teaching for 18 years and Wanderlust was one of my favorite yoga festival experiences ever. So anyway, we're same there.
Yeah, no, it's obviously like life-changing when you really dig in. And the last one, because I also am just really passionate about matrescence, which is the psycho-developmental push into motherhood. And obviously it's very pertinent to where I am in my life right now. There's a really great book, I believe it's called Mother Brain by Boy is the author's last name. And it actually goes through everything that's shifting in your brain as you become a parent. It's not just applicable to gestational parents. It's absolutely applicable to folks that adopt, that utilize surrogates, to partners. And so I just think it's just really fascinating to know like what's happening to your brain when you enter into parenthood.
Yeah, I explained motherhood the other day. I mean, like, I feel like I have many times, but I was like, no, actually, when you wait to pack until midnight the night before, like the checkbox in my head of all of the things the kids need to pack that I need to have, like, I actually keep a checkbox for the things you need to do. Like the mother load is insane.
It's insane. And I think also it's just interesting because it like shares with you what is actually changing in your brain that makes that happen. Like, why are you constantly, the feedback loop, the kind of dopamine like shifts in your brain, and just really interesting to like, your brain changes a lot. So like literally it actually changes. So it's just good to know what's going on.
Okay, cool. Well, we've got some library card recommendations now. Okay. How do we find out more about Arya, about you, if our listeners are interested in kind of getting more info on what you guys are up to, where should they head?
Yeah, you can go to arya.fyi, and that's our landing page. Right. You can obviously check us out on Instagram or any of the socials. Again, just arya.fyi. I'm like very under the radar. This is like the first kind of public, I'm not even on social media. I have a LinkedIn, obviously that's how you know me, but I'm very quiet on it. Right. I'm like very quiet. You're just like so sweet. I was like, sure, I'll do it. Like you're always so fun to chat with. But you can always find me on LinkedIn, Jacqueline Wilf. And I'm always open to a conversation. I think the more that we can support one another and honestly like find mutually beneficial ways to partner and really just support each other's growth, especially in this space where it's tough. It's tough to get funding. And I really think that funding aside, partnerships I've always found are like the best way to grow and the best way to create community and support each other. So I'm always open to be there and to hear what you're up to.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. We are excited to hear what you guys keep, growing and doing. And hopefully plenty of us will be on your site, maybe on the group calls sometime soon.
Yes, join an event. It's not intimidating, I promise. It's very, very
fun.
Very easy. Thank you, Laura.
Okay, we'll see you guys soon on Well, Well, Well.